All right. If it's your first time practicing with me, make sure you have 2 blocks nearby. If you do not have them at home, it's fine. You can find 2 big books or 2 water bottles just in case you need some support. And I always suggest my students to have some blanket or couch pillow, especially you have a really thin mat, and sometimes we leave our knees on the floor for a long time. So if you have thin mat and have sensitive knees, it would be nice to have something like a blanket or a couch pillow for some extra cushioning. I usually like spread it and kind of in the middle, but slightly to the back of the mat. And once you gathered all those tools that you need, come into a child pose Balasana. Extend your arms forward and press your tailbones toward the heels. You might find your arms getting into the action immediately, but rather than that, relax the shoulders toward the ground. Relax them away from the ears. So let the gravity do the work for you. And just hear the sound of your breath bounce back from the ground back towards you. And use that to help you to bring your attention close to them rather than worrying about whatever has been on your mind. And sometimes I start my class with breathing practice. Usually it requires a little bit control of your breathing. Sometimes can be Samavritti. You breathe the same length for the inhale or exhale. Sometimes we practice Ujjayi breath. Sometimes we practice alternate nostril breathing. But for today, just let your breath stay natural. If you notice your mind wandered away, knowing it's perfectly fine, just to simply use the sound of breath to bring it back again. And if that happened to you, you might notice that if you kind of force it to come back, just telling your breath, telling your attention, come back, it's not necessarily going to come back. Rather just let it happen naturally. And just shift your focus onto the sound. A couple more rounds on your own. If you're enjoying the space that you cultivate for yourself in this child pose, you can stay here. I'm gonna start flowing and you can follow. And round your upper back, kind of like a cat pose. Next, I'll drop your belly toward the ground. Pull your chest forward and open the collarbones. Round your upper back and press your tailbones back toward the heels, and we flow in between those two places. Inhale, round your upper back, cat pose. Exhale, kind of like a upward facing dog, but your pelvis, your thigh bones are on the ground. Inhale, round your back, warm up the low back. Exhale, round forward and spread the collarbones. Stay true to the pace of your breath rather than changing the pace of breath according to the movement. Press firmly into the palms. Make sure your hands are right underneath your shoulders. Continue to flow like that. And we'll all meet back in Balasana, child pose. Once you're back to child pose, start walk your hands to the left side. You can even tap your right hand on top of the left to intensify the stretch of the right side body. And keep pressing the tailbones toward the heels. And imagine your hands are reaching forward far away to the left side. Let the torso rest on top of the thighs. Inhale, reach far through the hands. And exhale, let that control go, release the torso toward the ground. And start walk yourself back to the center. Before we do the other side, we add another little bit twist. Walk your left hand far away to the front. Tentacle your fingertips and thread your right arm underneath your left arm and rest your right cheek on the ground. Gaze through underneath the left arm toward the sky. And slowly come back to center. Then walk your hands to the right side. Option 2, bring the left hand on top of the right for a more intense stretch, side stretch of the left side body. Inhale, reach far away to the right side through the hands. Next, release the torso toward the thighs, toward the ground. At the end of the next inhale, slowly walk yourself back to the center. And walk your right hand farther out to the front. Tentacle your right fingertips and thread your left arm underneath your right. Rest your left cheek onto the ground. Inhale, reaching forward to the right hand. Exhale, rotate your rib cage, your chest toward the right side. And exhale, slowly come back to center. Back to child pose. Round your upper back, come back into a cat. Neutralize your spine into a table. So to protect our shoulders and elbows, if you have some blocks, you can bring the blocks tallest height in front of you. And walk your hands, one hand print forward. And shift your pelvis forward. So we're in a knee plank. Make sure you're pushing firmly through the hands and pressing the elbows, the shoulders away from the ground. Gaze slightly forward. Next up, bend through the elbows, hug the elbows in. You can stay here. You can also release the shoulders all the way to about 90 degrees into your elbows to that angle, but no lower than that. Inhale, push back up. Exhale, bend through the elbows. Drop the elbows no lower than the block on the shoulders. Inhale, push back up. Last time, bend through the elbows. Press firmly through the hands. Shoulders no much lower than the elbows. Come all the way back up. Then tuck your back toes. Lift your tailbones up. Come to the first down dog of ours today. Pedal through the leg, one leg and another. Invite some flexibility into the back of the legs. You can also rock forward into a high plank or knee plank. Then rise back up into a downward facing dog. You choose your movement that makes some space in your hamstrings. Turn your biceps towards the front. All the pressure spread evenly through the corners of the hands. Make sure the space between the shoulders and the neck. And only if those are in place, and you can start slowly release the heels toward the ground. And sometimes when we precondition our mind with what a perfect posture is supposed to be like, we just try to impose more control onto it, which creates more tension, which you might notice in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your neck. So if you notice the spaciousness between your shoulders and neck start losing, keep a lot of bend in your legs. Or you can come down into a child pose. When we're ready, lift your left knee up, point your left toes towards the ground. Next, so draw the left knee to the right elbow. So there's a little bit twist here. Inhale, kick the left leg up. Exhale, draw the left knee to the right elbow. Just do one more time. Inhale. Exhale, draw the left knee to the right elbow. Option 2, kick the left foot to the right side. And extend your right arm up, fallen triangle. Press into the left palm and release the left shoulder away from the left ear. We're just passing through this, so bring the right hand back and step your left foot in between the hands. Release your right knee down. Hands on the ground or on the blocks. If neither of those work for you, you can bring the hand on top of your left thigh. Hugging both thigh bones toward the midline. Find a steady point for you to focus on. And we do some of our usual flow. If you have blocks, this will be very helpful, but if you do not, make sure your hands are on something supportive when you go in between the flows. So the first place is Anjaneyasana, low lunge, chest forward, hands on the blocks or on the ground, or something that's supportive. Next, so pin your left hip back, straighten your left leg, pull the left toes towards you. If you have tight hamstrings as I do, it's helpful to bring the blocks closer to your chest. And inhale, bend into your left leg, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Next, exhale, pin your left hip back. Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Pull the left toes towards you, hug the thigh bones in. Inhale. Next, exhale, pin your left hip back. You can stay in this half split. Option 2, bring the right block underneath your right hand and twist your chest to the left side, raise up the left arm. Option 2, bring the left block outside the left foot and bring the right hand on top of the block and extend the left arm up. Depends on how intense you want this twist to be for you. And this adds a lot of to the hamstring stretch as well. Keep pulling the left toes towards you. Last inhale. Wherever you are, exhale, bend back into your left leg. And right hand down, and left hand up for a simple twist. Inhale, lengthen through the left fingertips. Exhale, revolve through the spine and turn your chest up. Release your left hand down. Untuck your right toes and step your right foot to meet with the left and fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, hands on the shin or on the thighs or on the blocks, your choice. Choose a height that works for you, that allows you to lengthen through the spine. Now exhale, fold over the legs. And walk your hands to the left side. And walk your hands to the right side. And fold over the legs. One more inhale, lengthen through the spine. Let the space behind the legs open. Now exhale, fold over the legs. You can stay here. You can also keep your hips low. Imagine there's a block in between the knees and you're clenching your knees toward the block and raise up the arms by the ears into Uttanasana chair pose. And of course, if you want to focus on the legs part of your chair pose, but not necessary, today is a day that you have the strength for it, you can rest your hand on the blocks in front of you. Or you can put a chair behind you if you have one nearby. And rise all the way up. And the hand through heart center. Tadasana. You can briefly close eyes if you like to. If you choose to be in this intentional Tadasana and eyes are closed, you can be playful, shift the weight around the corners of the feet. And find a center that connects from the right shoulder to the left heel and left shoulder to the right heel. And use that cross to help you find your center. And once you're ready, you can start slowly blink open the eyes. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, hands on the shin or on the blocks, lengthen to the spine. Exhale, step left and right into a high plank. If you have sensitive wrists, you can release the knees down for a knee plank that we practiced earlier. Take a long inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head all the way to the heels. And exhale, bend through the elbows. Release all the way down to the belly. Hug the elbows in, inhale, lift the chest up. Bhujangasana. And exhale, fold over the leg, fold over. One more time, inhale, chest up. Option 2, pressing into the palms, straighten the arms. Lift your pelvis, the top of thigh bones up from the ground into upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck the toes and press your tailbones up into downward facing dog. That's what we usually call vinyasa. But knowing any of those can be replaced, the back bending of the upward facing dog or baby cobra can be replaced with a cow pose when you on all your falls. And the downward facing dog, you can come into a cat or child pose. And we'll flow to the other side. Lift your right leg up. Keep your right toes facing toward the ground, hugging the right thigh bones toward the midline. Next, draw the right knee into the left elbow. Inhale, kick it back up. Exhale, right knee to the left elbow. Last time like that. Right knee to the left elbow. And this time, option to kick the right foot out. Lift up the left arm up into a fallen triangle. Lift your pelvis up. Release your left hand down and step your right foot in between the hands lightly. Release your left knee down. Hands on the blocks or on the ground. If you have neither of those accessible to you, bring the hands on top of the right thigh. Hug the thigh bones into the midline. Seek for the same steady point that you've been focusing on the other side. Just let go of the control of how you think your posture is supposed to be like. Just to follow the pace, the rhythm of your breath. And find the blocks or whatever you've been using to support yourself. Inhale, chest forward. Next, pin your tailbone back, straighten your right leg, pull right toes toward you into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Press the back of the right leg into the ground. Pull the right hip back and pull the left hip forward so they're on the same level. Inhale. Bend into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhale, pin your right hip back, half split. One more time like that. So you can continue to flow like that. If you want to focus on the twist, you can start with the left side block. Bring it underneath your left shoulder, left hand on top of the block, and right hand up, twisting to the right shoulder. So you're twisting to the spine rather than from the pelvis. Your pelvis still evenly, roughly facing forward. And if you want more twisting, you can bring the block onto the right side of the block, the leg, and right arm up. Wherever you are, we all come back into a low lunge. Release the left hand down for a simple twist, right hand up. Inhale, reaching through the right fingertips. Next, revolve through the spine, lengthen through the spine. Release your right hand down. And step your left foot to meet with the right. Follow the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, follow the legs. Sit your tailbone low, raise up the arms. You've been here. You can put a chair behind your hips. You can put the blocks in front of you and rest your hands at the top. And if you'd like to do an add-on twist to this, bring the right elbow on top of the left thigh. And fist your right hand, blanket with your left hand that help you to open the chest to the left side. Take a big inhale. Next, exhale, come back to center. We'll do the other side. Of course, you can come down into a squat in between. Bring the left elbow on top of the right thigh, right hand flanking the left hand and twisting to the right side. Come back to center, rise all the way up. And hand through heart center, Tadasana. Take a deep breath in. Now exhale, let everything out. We'll flow to Surya Namaskar B today, which is a little bit more difficult than Surya Namaskar A. If you have any other kind of sun salute that you, not necessarily sun salute, it can be moon salute as well, or water salute, that you like to practice on your own, please go for it. And I'll guide you to one round of Surya Namaskar B on each side, and before I send you on your own. Inhale, sit into a chair pose. Fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Next, step right and left. For disclosure, there's no difference in which leg you step first. I just like balancing it out. Take a big inhale. Next, so bend to the elbows. You can release all the way down to your belly into a Bhujangasana, or on the inhale, halfway, lift your chest up into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, we all meet in downward facing dog or other kind of forward bending that you chose to. Can be child pose or cat pose. Step your left foot to the left thumb. Since it's the first round, we'll do it slowly. Spin down your right heel. Your right toes are roughly 45 to 60 degrees toward the front. Press the pinky edge of the right foot into the ground. Bend into the left leg. There's no law about how much your left leg needs to be bent, so go with whatever extent that you still feel supported. Raise up the arms by the ears and rise all the way up into a warrior one. Imagine someone stepping onto your right foot and stepping the right edge of the right foot into the ground. Release the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the spaciousness between the shoulders and the neck. And fold over. Step your left foot back. We repeat the vinyasa. Bend to the elbows. You can come down all the way to your belly. On the inhale, back bend of your choice. Now exhale. Tailbones up. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the right thumb. Spin down your left heel. About 45 to 60 degrees. Bend into the right leg. Arms by the ears and rise all the way up. Warrior one. And hands down. Step your right foot back. Bend through the elbows. Inhale, chest forward. Next, we'll all meet in Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. 3 to 5 rounds of breath here. If this is too much for you to stay in a downward facing dog, come down to a child or table. And use this pause moment to reflect how much control you've been trying to inject into your practice. Is there any that tensing up of your jaws, your shoulders, your neck that's been rising up, but you chose to ignore it because there's something else that you chose to grasp onto? In the bottom of the next exhale, step by step, a hop forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, sit into a chair. And rise all the way up. Exhale, hand through heart center. By the side, Tadasana. That's one round. I'm gonna do one more round together. Inhale, sit into a chair. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, hands down, step left and right into a high plank. Take a big inhale. Exhale, bend through the elbows. You can release all the way down to your belly on the inhale. Come into back bend of your choice. Exhale, tailbones up. Step your left foot to left arm. Spin down your right heel. Go a little bit faster in the second round. Rise up. And exhale, hands down. Step the left foot to the back. Take a big inhale. Exhale, bend through the elbows. Inhale, back bend of your choice. Exhale, tailbones up, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot to the right thumb. Spin down your left heel. Rise up. Now exhale, hands down. Step your right foot to the right, to the back. Vinyasa of your choice. Three to 5 rounds in this downward facing dog. Or other postures that give you space for reflection. On the bottom of the next exhale, step by step, a hop forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, sit into a Uttanasana chair pose. Rise all the way up. Hand through heart center. By the side. One more round on your own so you can cultivate the ownership of your practice. It is okay, there's no perfect flow, what it's supposed to be look like, and just to go with what your body is asking you to. And now stay quiet. Whatever kind of flow they chose to, make sure you do give yourself that 3 to 5 rounds of breath, of quiet moment. If you're still flowing, take your time. If Put down with your flow. We'll all meet at the front, at top of the mat. Once you arrive at the top of the mat, if you have the blocks, bring them to the tallest height right in front of you so you can rest your hands on top of it. They're kind of like in a high table. Then you can take a big step with a right foot back. You can also go through slowly, go through a supported warrior 3, extend your right leg up. Then start slowly, release your right foot back and rise up into a high lunge, bend into the right leg. Release the shoulders away from the ears. Release the tension in the jaws, in the shoulders, in the neck, if there's any, by breathing out nicely. And open the chest to the left side, open the arms. Inhale, reaching through the hands. Next, release your right hand down, left hand up. Keep hugging the thigh bones into the midline. Next, step your left hand down and kick your left foot towards the back, down dog split. Bring the left knee to the right elbow and kick the left foot out into fallen triangle again. And this time, keep both hands on the ground and your chest still facing towards the ground rather than to the right side. Then lift your left leg up and step your left foot to the right thumb. So note it, it's right thumb. And then start walk the right foot to the left side. So we're in a very wobbly low lunge. Hands on the ground. And also bring the hands on top of the left thigh or on the blocks if you have them. So we go through some very wobbly flow. It is perfectly fine if you fall out of posture, no big deal. The whole point is just to create a condition to observe in an uncertain situation. We tend to try to gain more control, even though some part of us knows it's perfect fine, like in this posture. You're still very close to the ground, even though it's wobbly. And for out of posture, you're not gonna, the chance of you getting yourself hurt is very unlikely. So you can stay in this wobbly low lunge. You can also raise up the arms by the ears, remove some of the support, kind of like you're stepping out of your comfort zone with baby steps. Option 2, lift your back knee up into a high lunge with crisscross leg. Release your right knee down slowly, not dropping, releasing. Inhale, rise up. Now exhale, release your right knee down. Last time like that. Now exhale, release your knees down. And find the blocks if you have them. Last time, lift your back knee up. And walk the blocks to the left side of you. So you're gonna turn your toes, both of them to the left side. Hands on the blocks, you can adjust the height of the blocks and twisting toward the ground. This is giving a big stretch to the outer hips. So your blocks might be very at the top of the mat because tension of the outer hip. But if you have the range, you can also walk the blocks to the middle of the mat. Instead, walk the blocks toward the front. And step the left foot to the back. Option to move through one more round of vinyasa if you like to. We'll all meet in a child pose. From child pose, there's one offering of back bend here. For this round, we're gonna do just a baby camel. So stand on the shin, hand on the sacrum, fingertips pointing up. I'm just facing this way so you can see me better. Use the palms to press your pelvis forward. And drop the shoulders, the head toward the back, but keep the chest puffing up toward the sky. Hugging the elbows toward each other. To get out, tuck the chin toward the chest and slowly lift the back up. And because it's a deep back bend, so we're not gonna just jump into a forward bending. So come into a neutralized table pose first. And then downward facing dog. Step by step, a hop forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Next, exhale, fold over the legs. Sit into a chair. Rise up. Hand to heart center, Tadasana. We'll do the other side. Make sure all the props that you need, especially the blocks, are in the place that you need them to be. Come into a high table first. You can take a big step with your left foot. You can also extend your left leg out into supported warrior 3 first. Lengthen through the crown and kick the left heel back. Then lightly step the left foot down. Raise up the arms by the ears into a high lunge. Inhale, lengthen through the arms, raise the fingers up. Next, open the chest to the right side, open the arms. Inhale, reaching through the fingertips. Next, release your left hand down slowly and right hand up into a twist. Bring the right hand down. Kick the right foot back into a down dog split. Next, draw the right knee into the left elbow and kick the right leg out. But keep both hands onto the ground and chest facing the ground. Then step your right foot to the left thumb. Release your left knee down. And slowly walk the left foot to the right side. Create a crisscross leg situation. Hands on the ground or on the blocks or on top of the right thigh. The least support you have is raising up the arms by the ears. You can stay here in this uncertain place. If you want to venture further, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up. Inhale, reaching to the fingertips. Next, release the left knee down. Inhale, back up. Next, left knee down. One more time. Bring the hands down onto the ground and find the blocks or water bottles or big books that you've been using. And lift your back knee up. And walk the blocks to the right side. You can stay here. If you want to go further, you can walk the blocks closer to the midline of the mat and turn your feet so your toes are facing toward the right side of the mat. You'll notice if your breath getting restricted, your shoulders getting tensed up. If that's so, walk yourself back out a little bit. And start walk the blocks back to the front of the mat. And step your right foot back into a high plank. Move to a vinyasa if you like to. We all meet in child pose. So we'll do a camel pose on this round. And of course, you always have the option of coming to a cow pose or baby camel as I demonstrated last round. But if you want to do camel pose, full camel Ustrasana, but this is your first time, make sure you have blocks nearby to support you. Bring the blocks to be outside of your feet and come stand on the shin. Hands on the sacrum, tuck the elbows in, and lean your chest. Puff your chest up, lean your head toward the back. You can release one hand on one block. This is where you can stay. You can also adjust the height of the block. If you do not have any block but still want the elevation of height, you can tuck your toes, bring the heels slightly closer to you and rest the hands on the heels. Open the collarbones, let the head naturally hang. Puff the chest up. Press the pelvis forward. To get out, hand on the sacrum first. Tuck the chin toward the chest. Come sit down first. You can also come into a table to neutralize the spine. And when you're ready, we'll come into a downward facing dog. For Adho Mukha Svanasana, step by step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold all the legs. Inhale, sit into Uttanasana chair pose. Exhale, rise up. Hand through heart center. We'll do a second round with a lot of changes. But remember, your blocks still there if you need them. So I would say still bring them to the top of the mat, the highest, the tallest height, so you can, they're still there if you suddenly need some support. And also, it's nice to start with some support and remove them if you don't need them. So from here, you can hand on the blocks. You can also directly come into Warrior 3. Okay, let's start with the left leg first. Standing strong to the left leg. Right leg back. Hands at prayer in front of the chest or hands on the blocks for supported Warrior 3. Lengthen to the spine. Reach the crown of the head forward. Point the right toes toward the ground. Lift the back of the right knee up. And lightly step the right foot back. Inhale, right arms up. Release shoulders away from the ears. You can come open the chest to the left side for a twist. You can also step the right foot slightly in. Fold your chest down into a pyramid pose, hands on the blocks or on the ground, and left hand up into a reverse triangle. If your body is looking for more, the next step is reverse half moon. Walk your right hand forward, standing strong through the left leg. Lift the right leg up, chest facing the left side. And step your right foot down. Sit your tailbones down into a Malasana yoga squat before we do the other side. Press the palms into each other. If this does not work for you, come into a Uttanasana, just float over, standing. And when you're ready, slowly come back up. And we'll do the other side. Make sure the blocks at the front, if you moved them in the last side, and standing strong to the right leg. Feel the right outer hip hugging in. And then your chest forward, lift your left leg up into a warrior three, hands option. If they need the blocks are right in front of you. Point the left toes toward the ground. Step the left heel into the wall behind you. And reach the crown of the head forward. Then step your left foot back. Raise up arms. And to a high lunge. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the arms. Exhale, option to open the chest to the right side. Option to step your left foot slightly in and fold your chest toward the right leg into a pyramid pose. Left hand on the ground or on the block, right hand up into a twisted triangle. If your body is calling for more hamstring stretch with twisting, you bring the left hand forward, standing strong to the right leg, lift the left leg up into revolve half moon. Keep the left leg lifted. Hug the right outer hip in. And step your left foot forward. Come into Malasana. Release the tension behind the legs. So before we totally cool down, there are a couple more things that we can do. If you feel like your energy already used up, you can simply come onto your back and release your knees to one side and arm to the other side. If If you like to try some arm balancing, which I apologize to those who come to my class first time today, I haven't actually taught arm balancing for a while. It just happened to be weaved into my theme of my class tonight. So we're gonna try a couple of things you can try. You can try side crow. Bring the hands to the right side. Your left elbow is pressing into the right thigh. Make sure your hands are shoulder distance. Then you lift your tailbones up and lean your chest forward, gaze slightly forward. And then bring your torso to the elbows and lift your toes off from the ground. So this is the first option. Make sure your shoulders not dipping below the elbows. Another option is we've been doing a lot of hamstring stretch, so you can open the legs. To get out, bend the knees back together. Bring the feet back to the ground. In between, you can shake the hands, release the tension from the wrists. If you've been on the back and twisting towards one side, switch side. And you want to try the arm balancing on the other side, bring the feet together, your knees together. Right elbow into the left thigh bone. Left hand outside. Make sure your hands are shoulder distance, even slightly wider if you like to. Gaze slightly forward, lean your chest forward, and lift your toes off from the ground. An option to open the legs. And slowly come out. Fun stuff. As I said, I don't usually teach arm balancing on my class, but I think it is a posture, very good posture to train our courage. Take your time to play around with all those options. And once you are done with playing, come sit on your hips and bring the sole of the feet together. Bring the heels close to the pelvis. And hold the toes with the hands. And fold over and use elbows to push the thigh bones open. If any control or tension got built up through the practice because you think some certain postures should look certain way, just use this opportunity to breathe it out, release the tension, let that control go. I actually find for bending like this, Baddha Konasana is actually when you let your control of the breath go, you actually can release your chest closer to the ground. And start slowly come back up. And because we've been putting a lot on our hands already, so we're gonna do things slightly different today. Come down onto your elbows and your back. Bring the feet as wide as the mat, knock the knees together. And windshield wiper your knees side to side. You might don't get as much of range as usual when you're on your hands, but we're just giving our hands a little bit rest while giving our hips opportunity to open up. Once you're back to center, cross your right ankle over the left knee and press the right knee open. And step your right foot down, cross your left knee, ankle over the right knee, and press the left knee open. Pressing into the elbows, keep the collarbones open. And step your left foot down and release all the way down to your back. Bring the blocks to be nearby if you know you're going to need some support for Shavasana. But before Shavasana, one last little bit. Bring the heels close to the tailbones and lift your tailbones off from the ground into a bridge pose. You can slide a block underneath your sacrum for supported bridge pose. You can also clasp the hands, roll up onto the shoulders into a more active bridge pose. 3 cycles of breath here. And then slowly release the tailbone back to the ground. If you have the block, you can remove it to the side. Now hug the knees into the chest, gently walk side to side. Option to grab the outer edge of the feet with the hands and pull the knees into the armpits into happy baby pose. There's some rocking side to side here as well. And when you're ready for Shavasana, release your limbs to the ground, let all the control go. Just let the space beneath you to support you. Put a blanket over your pelvis if it makes it more grounding. And slowly let the eyelids get heavy or fully close eyes if they're not already. Shavasana. If you'd like to stay here, you're welcome to. If you're ready to come out of your Shavasana, you can start working your toes on your fingertips. And carefully roll onto one side. And navigate yourself into a comfortable seat. As with a resonant gesture for you, gather your hands in front of the heart. Take a long breath in. And exhale everything out. And bow your head toward the heart. When you're ready, slowly blink open the eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me tonight. If you have any question, please let me know. I'll upload the recording later. All right. See you in 2 weeks.